Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff. With me today, the Cuzzo, Dan. How we feeling?
You see this right here?
Spirit fingers.
No, this is the sun. The sun is coming out in the
That's a sun?
Midwest.
That's a
Yeah,
sun?
supposed to be a sun. I feel like a god, and I'm trying to grab the sun and pull it down a
I
little
thought
bit.
those were I thought those were spirit fingers.
Yeah, I mean they could have been cupping some mega balls too, but uh, that's for another time. Beautiful day today. I mean, just open up the door, get some fresh air. Might as well take the dog for a walk, take the little girl for a stroll. Do what you got to do to get outside today. Little cloudy right now. So, Mr. Sun, where did you go? Like to see you come back, but going to be close to almost 80, I think, today.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I made sure to get out there early this morning because I know it's going to be a little hotter. So don't really. I personally don't like sitting out in the sun and sitting there sweating, or even on like a walk or whatnot. And then it gets a little too hot for the dog to be out there too. So yeah, we got out there early though, so enjoyed the weather. Weekend weather was pretty favorable as well.
hmm It
Um,
was solid. It was solid.
yep. So always brings on. It gets rid of the Mondays a little bit quicker when the weather's nice. Unless you're locked inside, then it's kind of yeah.
I don't like thinking about Mondays. Now, I mean, I'm off on Mondays, but I know that sort of feel for everybody on Mondays, and I just know that Monday's my Sunday. So Monday night for me, I get those Sunday scaries really start to hit around 7, 8 o'clock. Like, holy shit, I gotta go into work tomorrow. I gotta wake up by 7 a.m. Uh, but you know what? It's a beautiful day. Can't complain with today.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's jump into the sports. Episode 60. Just
Oh,
real quickly had to jump in and find someone. So he didn't notoriously have um, a long career wearing the number 60. It was only for 1 year with the Athletics. But Dick Allen, former White Sox, Hall of Famer, MVP, Rookie of the Year, um, you know, batted 292 batting average, 133 stolen bases, 1,100 RBIs, 351 homers. I think he's got that infamous. I think they just actually did a bobblehead giveaway for him, and they actually did the cigarette for him because he. If you've ever seen that Sports Illustrated, he did in like the '70s, I think it was. He's like juggling the ball, smoking a cigarette.
I don't believe I've seen that one. I know I've seen who's that manager who used to manage a little while back. He managed a few teams, had a little stash, and there's clips of him always like smoking a little heater in the dugout, and like a quick rip.
Yeah.
And I forget who that is, but yeah, I mean that used to happen back in the day.
What a time to be alive.
Oh my
Smoking in the
god,
dugout.
yeah, have a quick smoke. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's jump into the quick hitters. Obviously, NHL playoffs are going on. If you've gotten any time to check that out, it's always a fun time, as I like to say. Games just a lot quicker. Dallas is up 2-1 over Winnipeg currently. That series that went on last night, obviously. Edmonton's up 2-1 on Vegas. Vegas won the game, I think, Saturday night with like 4.4 seconds left. And then Leafs Panthers tied up at twos. That's been a fun series. And then Carolina's up 2-1 on the Caps. Good series, though, so far.
Let's go. I don't know who to root for with this.
I got a future on Edmonton, so go Edmonton.
Oilers, right?
Yep.
Let's go Oilers!
I love the enthusiasm. Moving into NFL, our long, pretty. I mean, not. I was going to say long-awaited friend, but that doesn't make any sense. But Derek Carr retired this past weekend, so I think he's on your team, right? For Gridiron
He is, yeah. I've yet to drop him, but I do have a few rough moves to
ceremonial.
make after the draft we just had. So yeah, Derek had you for one season. I might have played you a couple weeks just because Bryce Young wasn't doing well, and then Bryce started playing well towards the end of the year. So I guess what I'll say to Derek is this: farewell, hasta la vista, baby. And do well outside of the NFL. He had some decent years. He wasn't a bad quarterback, but I think the last couple of years, I don't know where. I don't know if they were that enthusiastic.
Lackluster.
Yeah.
Lackluster. I mean, he had a couple years, like you said. He had, when he was early on with the Raiders, he had 32 touchdowns, 28 in a row. He had a bunch of double-digit touchdowns, and just
Mm-hmm.
never got over the hump though to make it into the playoffs. I think he was 0-1 in his one opportunity. So it was always fun watching him though, because there was always something goofy he would do during a game, or the infamous, if you look up, I think it was like the playoffs or whatever. He was facing off against the Chiefs, and he had this like stare down, like this like locked in like Game 6 LeBron type look on his face. But I don't think they even won. So.
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
Derek, you know what? It was a solid, it was a decent enough career. And like I said, had you for one season. Now you're gone, and it's good. Bye, baby, I guess.
Yep. And then obviously we haven't done the podcast since the NFL draft happened, but I mean, I'm not going to go super in depth because that's going to be a whole nother podcast on that one. But biggest one was Shadir Sanders going in the 5th round to Cleveland. What did you think about that? Were you shocked? Was it a surprise? Was it one of those things where,
I mean, going in the 5th, I don't know. I mean, I knew he wasn't, people were saying, he might not have been one of the top couple quarterbacks coming out. And, I wasn't a huge fan of Sanders going into the draft, so I didn't put a lot of stock in looking at him. But, going 5th round, maybe a little surprising for sure. But he's got his own kind of issues. He didn't want to look at the film and all that from what we've heard. So, I mean, if you don't want to put the work in, how did he even get drafted? Because he's Deion's kid? Maybe that's just me, but that's my take on Shadur.
Yeah, I mean, a statement was definitely made by the NFL. They pretty much kind of blackballed him up until the 5th round, but he landed in a good spot where he could still end up being their franchise quarterback. Now that's a bold take right there. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't write that one down. It's not a Jeff hot take there, but yeah, I mean, I can see him carving out a role. It's because it's Cleveland. They did draft Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon as well. He'll be fighting for a job, but they got Flacco, they got Kenny Pickett, and then they still have Watson on the team. I don't think he'll ever play again.
How about that quarterback room?
That's a hell of a quarterback room. Just a lot of, throw shit at the wall and see what happens is the best way to describe it. But yeah, we'll jump into we just finished up our Gridiron draft, our home league this past weekend. And then right before that, I'll have to grab the trophy. I did get that this past weekend from Jeremy. So I'll bring that over. But moving into quick MLB news before we jump into our respected teams. I don't know if I respect them and either one of them at the moment, but anyway, Kyle Schwarber tied for the league with 14 home runs. He's tied with Aaron Judge, arguably two of the hotter hitters in baseball right now, but Aaron Judge obviously takes the cake on that one. He's batting .409, 14 homers, and 39 RBIs.
Yeah, it's funny because I wrote down Aaron Judge, and then we weren't able to do this last week, but I had stats on him last week because of what he's been doing. And yeah, I mean, hitting 300 has always been a good stat to have by the end of the year, and it's becoming increasingly more important now in the day and age where we've kind of gone more for the long ball and less for the average. And this guy's not only hitting 300, right? He's hitting 400. He was hitting 400 last week. Like you said, tied for the league lead in home runs, 14 home runs. I don't know what that is on pace for, but I would assume it's in the 60s.
Yeah.
Again, there isn't anything. He's got 63 hits. I saw it recently. I don't know if it was this morning or recently. He's got a different approach with 2 strikes, and he's just going up there saying, I'm not trying to strike out. He does strike out a little bit. He's a big guy. But he's going up there. He might be up there for the most singles hit this year. He's got a great 2-strike approach. He's close to around 70% when he's got 2 strikes. He's hitting a single or some variation of that stat. He's just become he is the best player that we've seen in a long time. I know Ohtani is a 2-way player. When he finally gets back on the mound again, everybody can say Ohtani's maybe the best player right now. But what Judge is doing the last couple of years is he's making his Hall of Fame case a legit, like, okay, this guy could have a monstrous 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 year stretch and
Yeah.
make the Hall of Fame just from those. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, between him and Otani, just pretty much like not clinching. I don't want to say they're clinching the MVP, but like they're
Yeah,
making it
you
very
could say it.
difficult yeah, they're making very difficult to even say anybody else's name in the conversation of MVP just right now. And it's kind of good. It's kind of nice to see they're both in different leagues, AL and NL,
Yeah.
just so we could see them both do it. And I'm trying to think of someone that's been, other than Mike Trout, another player that's been as dominant between those two since like Barry Bonds, outside of Mike Trout, where they were in the MVP running year in, year out. I mean, you could maybe toss A-Rod in that perhaps, and I would have to fact check myself on that. But do you have anyone off the top of your head?
Well, what I was thinking about is, for Otani and Judge to be doing what they've been doing, especially just offensively for the last couple seasons, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. You think about guys, anybody could have a monster year, right? But to do this multiple seasons in a row is quite amazing.
Yeah.
You see guys like who's the one guy I just had on the tip of my tongue? Ryan Braun he's just another guy. He had a monster. He was a good player for a little while. I know he had his own little spat with the PEDs, but he had a monster year. I don't know if he won an MVP or not, but there's guys. I was going to say, I thought
2011.
He did, but, here he is, Ryan Howard. Great player for a while. He had a couple of monster years, but then, like those monster years were up here, and then you start to come back down to reality. Judge and Otani, but they're on this stratosphere level right now where nobody else is there, and no one else is really that close. I know Freddie, you've got Freddie in our league now. He's fucking unbelievable. There's other guys who are kind of similar, like Schwarber's having a great year. Tatis is obviously up there.
Goldschmidt's not having an MVP season by any means, but he's having
the average. Yeah.
The average is up there. He's getting a bunch of hits too. It's crazy watching between him and Judge. And I don't know if it's just because he actually has somebody that can hit behind him, but who else has been playing really well too? And we'll touch on that team a little bit later. But St. Louis Cardinals, Arenado. Every time that guy's up to bat, I see a highlight. It seems like he's hitting a clinching home run or putting him up or doing something great. And it's kind of nice at his age seeing that. And, I was really low on the Cardinals for the year, but he's kind of
they're hot.
They are very hot.
8 in a row from them, and it's not ideal to see if you're a Cubs fan, but that division, you've got three. If you look at the Cubs as the favorite, you got 3 other teams in that division that could really all be second place and potentially be vying to win the division. And St. Louis, okay, yeah, I didn't think much of them, but they've gotten going as of late. Wilson Contreras has been swinging a really good bat recently.
Yeah. Victor Scott has been solid too for him.
Brendan Donovan is their unsung hero this year. He's been unbelievable. That average is, I don't know,
last couple of years
still.
Yeah. I just remember him for fantasy too, and because we relate everything to fantasy. But I just remember him being like one of those guys that was like a utility player and always put up decent numbers. Kind of always ended up in the lineup every day, kind of like a Zobrist. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh my god, this guy's actually he could be like leading the Cardinals.
I like the Zobrist comp, right? Because versatile guy, can play everywhere, but he's hitting the ball, and
it's impressive.
Yeah, he's been. It's a big reason why they've won 8 in a row, and they're now in second place in the Central. So, but just getting back to Judge, I mean, it's unbelievable what him and Otani are doing. I don't know if there aren't really words to describe it, but yeah, I mean, you mentioned it since really like Bonds, right? And everybody wants to write Bonds off, and I understand it fully, but. I mean, Judge is up there with some of the all-time seasons we've seen from anybody.
For real. Yeah, and it's fun to watch. I wish, I didn't hate the Yankees as much as I do, because I would love to be like kind of rooting for him a little bit more. Yeah. I don't hate Judge because really it doesn't matter. Sox suck, so there you have it. But yeah, fun to watch. Good for baseball. Just jumping into this. Oh well, some quick news too. Obviously, Jordan Lawler, one of the. I think he's their number I think either the number 4 overall prospect for the Diamondbacks or it's just in general across MLB. He's going to be coming up. He's been tearing the cover off the ball for their farm system. 336, 6 homers, 30 RBIs, 13 stolen bases should fit right in with the Diamondbacks. They need that offensive help, but sneaky team out there too. A little fun note, there might be a team that actually beats the record for the Sox last year, and that might be the Colorado Rockies. What an awful display so far. So I have a side-by-side of it. The Sox through 2024 were 12-28 with a minus 83 run differential and 12 games back last year, right? This year, the Rockies might eclipse it. They are 7-33 with a negative 128 differential and 19.5 back in the division. Granted, their division's monsters, but I just think it's hilarious that it is such a short-lived bad year for the Sox. Should be interesting. I think I did see like a little clip that I don't know how real it is, but apparently they're holding tryouts, like open tryouts for the Rockies after they got shut out like 20-0 the other night.
Hey, you know what? That means we still have a chance, huh?
I know. I texted Rich. I'm like, hey, get out there because he's out there. So I was like,
I might start stretching. Yeah,
dude. I'd probably throw one ball, my shoulder would fall off. Honestly, I'm at that point because I haven't tossed the ball in a while.
Yeah, same here. Just real quick on Jordan Lawler. If he comes up and he starts swinging the bat like that at the big league level, that is huge for them because they've already got Corbin Carroll back to an MVP type season. He's gotten off
shoulder injury. Yeah,
Ketel Marte is a stud, and Christian Wong Josh Naylor's over there. They've got some hitters over there. You bring up another bat. Scary team. I know it's a tough division, but I still expect them to be right there for a wild card at the end.
Yep.
And Colorado, yeah. You know what? They're one of 2 teams that just fired a manager this past week. I was going back and forth looking at some of the statistics for both teams, and they're both towards the bottom in a lot of these. Colorado maybe taking the cake a little bit more just because they've only got 7 or 8 wins. But
right, just getting blown out like 20-0 is like, I mean, Sox were bad. Let them have their flowers of how bad they were, but my goodness, this is like horrific.
Yeah, team batting average isn't you can't go off of just one statistic, but you've got Colorado who was right here 28th at 219, Pittsburgh's 27th at hitting 220. So offensively, we knew both of these teams were going to have problems, but from a team standpoint, the average is one of the worst in the league. You look at home runs, they're, I think, the bottom 2 for a team. RBIs, they're the bottom 2. Slugging, they're both in the bottom 5. Hits, both in the 26th and 27th, I believe. They're not hitting the ball. We knew this looking at these rosters. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Colorado, I think they have 3 losing streaks of 8 games or more already on the year, so you're getting close to that White Sox type level last year. Where
I know.
It really could do it.
I know. Now the Sox will win. They'll lose 3 or 4 in a row, it seems, and then they win one. And what's funny is I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, the Sox ended up, and this could be just a transition over to the Sox too if we won. But it's just funny watching how the Sox play because they'll win one game and they look really not really good. I shouldn't say that. They win in some good fashion and then they'll lose the next night in the most White Sox fashion ever. I'm sure you saw it last week. Chase Meidrith hit it was against the Royals. He dropped the ball and it hit him off the head.
I did see that. Hit him right in the head. Yeah, that's. That happens once a year, and when it happens, you're like, how the hell does a major league player have a ball hit you in the head, dude?
Well, it gets worse because I don't think he threw it, but somebody threw the ball across the diamond, and it went flying into the outfield right after that. So pretty sure they tied the Royals tied the game up after that, but that's the Sox for you. But some interesting news for them. Obviously, they're 12-19, four of 6 in the last 10. So no big losing streaks right now, at least. But some positives. Shane Smith. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but he's 1-2 with a 2.08 ERA. Pitching really well. 5-6 innings at a start. He's shoving. I'd like to see him be. He's like 25. I'd like to see him still stick with the team. Maybe going forward, he could be a good rotation arm. So him, and then Tim Elko made his debut yesterday. Hit his first career hit was a home run. So
Yeah.
pretty cool. And then Luis Robert kind of, weather got warmer and he kind of turned it on, and he's got 15 stolen bases, second in the league. Lone bright spot. And then in the farm system, Braden Montgomery. He was a part of that Crochet trade. I think I mentioned he was kind of like the top prospect I was excited for besides Teal. He won Player of the Week in Single A. He got promoted from there's two Single A's. I don't know if it's like a developmental league, and then they got Single A. But he was batting 476, 10 RBIs, and 3 home runs. I think one of them was a walk-off. He's going to be flying up the system. Going to be really fun to watch him. Too bad that Robert will be gone, because it would have been cool to see those two type of caliber players. But Montgomery kind of going to be the gem of that team, I think, going forward.
Hey, you know what? I know you don't want to hear this, but you guys have rebuilt the farm system. You got a lot of good players down there. You've called up a couple guys already.
Yeah.
You guys, I think it's still the second worst record in the league, but you guys are at least in the ballpark with the other teams that are in last place in the other divisions. Colorado's in a league of their own. They're just bad. You guys are, again, not great. We knew that, but you do have some bright spots there. And hey, I mean, anything can happen here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with. You really just got to watch some of these prospects. Montgomery for sure.
Yeah, that's all I do.
The pitching down there looks good, and if you have one or two guys that you're able to keep, like if this Shane Smith becomes, if he becomes anything decent, you guys. We've mentioned it. You guys could have a really, really good starting staff in the next couple of years.
Yeah, Hagen Smith, another guy they just drafted. I could see him making a fast track too. He's been lighting
for sure.
Up, the minors. What did you think about the new City Connect jerseys the Sox have?
I would have to see them.
It's the red. They look like the Chicago Bulls, basically.
Oh boy, you guys every now and then wear like a funky. I guess everybody has a funky uniform or two now, but the red. I mean, what are we? Yeah, are we?
It was very Bulls-esque. When I first saw them, I'm like, oh, I don't really like it. But when they had them on the Friday night, I was like, you know what? I could get down with these. These are actually not that bad. So, but they did have the best. They had the best City Connect ones, because it was the gray or the black and gray pinstripes, and it had that cool Sox logo. That was the most recent one.
It's tough for you guys because your colors are black and white. So when you have like a red uniform or something like that, it's like, wait a minute, who am I watching right now? But you know what? You got to mix it up a little bit. And I'm a red guy, so favorite color always has been. Now, I'm more of a darker red than a lighter red. Where would you put that on the red spectrum?
I will pull them. I'll pull it up and I'll put it on the screen for you so you can see.
Do that for me, because I'm trying to visualize this, and I feel like it might not be as dark red as
I mean, it's Bulls red.
It's Bulls red. If it's Bulls red, I mean, all right, okay.
All right. Sharing my screen.
Oh, those aren't bad.
I told you it's not a horrible. When you first see them, it's like, oh, it's very Bulls-esque. But I actually.
What do we think of the black? What do we think of the black? What do you call them? Like the shoulder?
It's just sleeves. Arm? Yeah, the sleeve of it, the short sleeve. I like it. I'd like to see them bring back the vest. Do you remember the early 2004, 2005, where the Sox had the vest cut ones?
I'd have to see a picture of those too, but I remember playing travel baseball, and there was a team that had a vest. So I think I know what you're referring to. That almost seems a little too dressed up. If we're talking vest and everything, where am I going to? Am I going to a wedding?
Right.
Oh yeah, they're right there. Yeah, I mean, actually, those aren't bad.
Yeah. All right. Enough White Sox. Enough is enough. Let's talk about your Cubbies. We'll jump right into that. Obviously, they are. I'll pass it over to you. I'll just read their record, but they're 23-18. Still doing really good, in the run scoring department. And PCA, I will give him his flowers. He's been pretty good. Average could be a tick higher in my opinion, but 10 home runs, batting 264, 28 RBIs, and kind of hitting a lot of clutch hits.
Yeah, I mean, toughest week for us probably so far this season. The schedule finally gets a little bit lighter after we just had to play another couple of top teams with San Fran and the Mets. Dropped 2 series in a row here. Not a terrible week, not what you want to see, but again, very good competition with both teams. Really, right now, it's the starting pitching that's hurting us because Shota's out right now, and they're saying he's going to probably be out for longer than 2 weeks. So if you project him out, he's probably going to miss the rest of May. Steele, obviously, we know is down, so having your top 2 guys down is never easy to get through that. And Javier Assad has been one of our unsung heroes the last few years. He hasn't pitched yet at the big league level, so that's tough. One of the bright spots has been the offense. We're still scoring some runs, which is good to see. Cade Horton, we have to mention that.
I was going to say, I was waiting for you to bring him up, because if not, I was going to cut you off and be like, hey, let's talk about him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the start because I think he pitched Saturday, and unfortunately,
four innings. He got the win. 6.75 ERA right now. Gave up looks like 3 runs, 1 home run, and then he had 5 strikeouts. So,
yeah, I think the overall impression is he looked pretty decent. Had a couple Ks, like you said, gave up a couple runs, but everyone's going to do that. I guess what I'll say here is we've heard about this kid's name the last couple of years about him he's got really good stuff. I think he's 23. They say pitchers usually take a little bit longer to get up and really kind of develop more than hitters. And the Cubs have been kind of taking it easy with him. They want to make sure that when he comes up, he's ready to roll. I'll say this. He looked really good, and I don't think the Cubs' plan going into the season was to have him come up this early because of obvious injuries I just mentioned. And I don't know if they were planning on having him come up and be a starter right away or be a guy who kind of comes up and throws a couple innings in the bullpen, and which the Cubs could desperately need. If Steele and Shota were both healthy right now, it'd be nice to have him just in the bullpen and potentially push Ben Brown back to the bullpen too. But he looked good. Like to see that. And the confidence in the Cubs, I don't know if it was just they needed someone, but the confidence in the Cubs to call him up, have him throw 4 innings against one of the best teams in the league in the Mets, I think says a lot about this kid. So I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, he looks good. Like I said, one of the top prospects in your organization. Like you said, we've been hearing about him for how many years since he's been drafted. It'll be interesting to see if the Cubs actually pan out a pitcher like developed all the way through.
Right. That's the one thing we can never do is develop pitching. I think we've had 3 guys in the last 20 to 30 years. We had Samardzija. I think Pryor was a guy on the list I saw, and then Justin Steele recently. Other than that, it's been you draft pitchers and they don't usually come to fruition. So Horton hopefully can break that mold a little bit. And
here's a who. That's going to be his start. Horton here's a who.
You know what? I don't mind it. It's
not bad. It's not derogatory.
Is that Dr. Seuss?
It is Dr. Seuss.
I was like, wait a minute, where do I know that from? I think that's my man, Dr. Seuss. You know what? I like it. I like what I've seen from him. And with some of the injuries we've got, if he continues to pitch well, they're going to have to keep him up, I would assume. If we get Shota back soon, that's what I'm thinking. Like, ship Horton back to the bullpen, let him get some innings.
Because your bullpen,
which is interesting. The bullpen was bad, and then it got better, and then you have a couple bad games, and it's like, okay. And Porter Hodge took the loss recently against the Mets. He's been pretty good. It was
funny, though, because I noticed, because we were playing this week in fantasy, and I noticed that you had him in, and then he gave up that home run. Like, I think he got a save the night before, and then he comes in, what was it, yesterday or the day before, and just gets rocketed for like 6 runs or something crazy, or maybe it was only 4, but just got like lit up. I think Lindor hit one off of him, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Everybody has a tough outing, He's for the most part he's been one of our best guys. So you got to take a couple bad outings every now and then. But
Presley looks like shit. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done his last outing or two. I know he's
death taxes and the Cubs signing or trading or signing a relief pitcher that ends up just getting like lit up.
Yeah, everybody could use some extra arms. The Cubs for sure could use an extra couple guys in the
So you
bullpen,
guys have Drew
especially.
Pomeranz too.
Do we?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, who the hell's? I mean, I know Drew Pomeranz, but I mean,
He had a couple good outings. Like he was a pretty good reliever for the Padres. Actually, I think he actually went to. Don't quote me, but I think he might have been an all-star. To be honest with you, we're looking this up. I mean, the guy's been in the league.
Anybody can have a good half a year, you know what I mean? Let's see. Good for Drew, you know.
Nope,
for making
it was
it to the big
not
leagues.
recently. It was back in
Okay.
2016 with the.
It
was with the Padres, though. I was right. It was a wrong year, but because he was recently with the Padres. But one of the years he was with them. I mean, the guy's been in the league for 12 years, but good ERA. He didn't play in 2022, so he hasn't pitched since that, but he's been playing pretty well for you. 6 innings, 0 ERA, so that's better than the rest of your bullpen.
Like I said, we've got a couple arms down there. Anytime, you know, as a reliever, you give up a couple runs, the ERA balloons up. But yeah, that's the biggest issue we've got to fix. We knew that going into the year.
Oh yeah.
As long as the offense was going to hit, and the offense has been pretty good. You mentioned PCA, who's on a tear right now. Yeah, the average is maybe a little bit lower, but I mean, watching him play the outfield, he gets the balls because his instincts and his routes are so good. He gets the balls that other guys are diving, and he's not. You know, he doesn't even have to dive. He's got a really good arm. His thing was hitting. He's hitting. So Cubs, let's see. This is the time right now. We play Miami a couple times. No offense. We play you guys for 3 games, which I'm glad it's back to 3 games instead of 2. I hated the 2-game series.
I hated it too, or they did them back to back, like where it was like two in Wrigley, and then you took the red line over to the other stadium. It was stupid. I like it back to being 3 for sure.
Should be 3-game series.
Jerry needed the money. Come on.
Hey, you know what? Those series, I'm sure
it is. It's one of them.
Packed.
Oh, it is. It's one of the sellout ones because when you look at ticket packages, you get like one of them with your package, unless you get all 82 or whatever you get for a full season. But yeah, it's like one of them, and then like the Yankee series always obviously is a big one, and then I think probably Dodgers now. But yeah. All right. Just going back for a fun fact. So if you recall, the Detroit Tigers had a pretty good pitching staff. When I mean pretty good, I'm under. It's an understatement. So like the 2014, they had a Cy Young list. So I'm reading off these names for you. Ready?
Max Scherzer. Is this where they were in the playoffs back in the day?
Yes.
Had to be.
Let me double check the year while I'm doing it.
Verlander.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was going to say Scherzer first. So you had Max Scherzer, Rick Porcello, Justin Verlander, David Price, and Robbie Ray. Guess how many Cy Youngs they have combined?
Well, Verlander's, I think, got 3, if I'm not mistaken. Scherzer's got at least 2 or 3.
So that's 5.
So there's 5. Robbie Ray, I don't think he won. Has he won? Maybe he did win one. I know he had a couple
2021. Yeah, he had his breakout year in 21.
Rick Porcello, there's no way he won a Cy Young.
He did.
He had a good year, but...
So he won it in 2016, and if you recall, there was a big dispute about it because Kate Upton was pissed because Verlander had better numbers, if you remember that.
I mean, was that when he was on Boston, Porcello, or he didn't win when he was on Detroit? Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, he was with them. And
who was the other one?
David Price, 2012.
David Price, man. I mean, I want to say he only had 1.
Yeah, he's only got 1, so a total of 8.
He was, though, when David Price was going, I know he kind of had some injuries and he couldn't regain it, but he had some monster years with Tampa Bay. Back when they had Longoria over there, and it was pretty much just those two with a couple other people.
He was nasty. Yeah. I mean, and then he did get a World Series at least, but kind of just a little fun factoid for him.
It was a good staff. I think those Tiger days were back when they had Mags, right? They had Ordonez right around that time. I think they obviously still.
You're going back a little. You got to fast forward a little bit further. That was more like the 06 through like 2011, and Mags was out. But yeah, you at least had it. But like that was like Torrey Hunter, Victor Martinez, Miguel Cabrera had his MVP seasons. Those type of guys. Kinsler was there. JD Martinez was
Kinsler.
Nick Castellanos playing old third base.
How about Nicky playing on the infield, huh?
I know. Yeah, dude. It's so funny because I remember going to Sox games around that time and just constantly seeing the Tigers for whatever reason. Stars always aligned, and I saw so much of JD Martinez, and then when I went out to Arizona, saw him again.
Hey, JD's he's a proven hitter. Always a good guy to see,
I don't
but
even think he has a
always
job currently.
always catching Detroit though. I was like, what's up with that, man? I mean, no offense to Detroit, they've had some decent years, but
Yeah, then that was just like an odd time, but yeah, it just always aligned. Maybe it was when Sale was pitching. I don't know, but all right, let's jump into the NBA draft, or not? Well, the NBA draft, yeah, that's going on tonight. Actually, the draft lottery that goes off, and where do we think Cooper Flag ends up? My dart throw guess, and I'm not going to be a homer and say the Bulls because that would be just too sweet. I think that he ends up in like DC. I just feel like that would be the spot.
that doesn't sound like a great landing spot for Coop.
Um, I don't think anyone is.
I mean, is he expected to go one?
Oh, 100%.
So do we don't know the lottery, right? Or did they already do the lottery?
Lotteries tonight.
Lotteries tonight.
I could sim it right now. I could sim one for you. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Oh, we were close. We got 4. Should we try 2 out of 3? Should we see if we could get the Bulls?
Let's see what we got here.
Oh, even worse, 12.
Oh Jesus.
Washington. All right, so far Brooklyn and Washington. And the last one is Charlotte. Ugh.
Oh Jesus Christ. I mean that's bad.
If he goes to San Antonio, like if the NBA allows that to happen.
Yeah, after Popovich is like he's got a foot in the grave now. Poor guy.
Oh, he's done. Yeah. Oh
No,
my God,
yeah.
that press conference was awful. I felt so bad. Like he can't move, he can't talk. I know he had
He
like
had
a heart
a
condition,
he had a
but
heart attack or a stroke or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah, he's not doing too well anymore. But yeah, that would be something with De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, and then if you get a guy like Cooper Flag, you're like, okay, the Spurs not only are in the playoffs next year, but they're going to be a team that, I mean, they had their big three when we were growing up for how long, and they
yeah.
were always, it seemed like they were always in the ship or at least in the semi-conference finals. So that would be something. But I mean, who the hell knows with the lottery? But yeah, I mean, he's got to be going one. So
Yep. So moving into, you see Michael Jordan will be joining the NBA on NBC and Peacock as a special contributor. So I wonder what the bag was to get Michael Jordan out of whatever the hell he's doing, playing golf or, signing endorsements to get him to go be a commentator, not commentator, but like to be a special contributor. So probably doing like what Shaq and them do. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, you'd have to wonder like, why did he even say yes to that? Right, he's got more money than God. The other guys,
I think he's got a couple divorces now, at least one.
I don't think you need much more than MJ's got, and if he needs to, he can sell his house he still has in Chicago that he hasn't been able to sell for 2 decades.
I think that's because nobody can afford it.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, sure. I guess it'll be good to see MJ back in the sport, but my goodness, have him be a special advisor to the commissioner or something. Have him go up a little bit more than being a special advisor or whatever the hell you just said. I don't know.
All right, and then last question before we jump into the playoff of it: where does Giannis end up next year?
God, I want to say the Bulls.
I'd
love to say the Bulls. I mean,
that'd be cool, but I don't think we have enough trade capital to even think about that.
I think I heard him say he would love to play for the Bulls.
Yeah, so, he did say that too. I think I recall.
That would really be something. I mean, that he gets his 30 or 40 whenever he wants. Where does he end up other than us? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to say maybe he stays in the East.
I was thinking Miami at first, but they don't have the draft capital.
Oh, fuck Miami, dude. I don't even want to talk about Miami.
Yeah, I thought them at first, but like maybe Orlando. I mean, you could throw.
Dude, Orlando would be a wild team if they could keep some of those. If you have Banchero,
well, you probably have to move Franz to even consider it, and then you have to.
That's the thing.
10 years of picks, so it's like
if you could keep Giannis, Banchero, and Franz.
I doubt that. I doubt Milwaukee does anything less than that. But I guess he came out Sham or ShamWow, whatever we want to call him. Our new Wojbaum said this morning too that he hasn't made any firm decisions, but he's open minded to playing somewhere else.
Well, it's tough too because Milwaukee hasn't been able to really get him that great second option. He's been kind of running with who he had there, and they were able to win one. But Lillard, unfortunately, had the injury, had the blood clot or whatever, and then he tore the ACL, I think, in the playoffs or something. So
ACL or Achilles? I don't remember what it was.
One of those, but I mean, he's probably going to be out all this next year because he injured it right at the end of the season. So what do you do if you're Giannis, right? I mean, do you want to continue to try to be the guy? The East has gotten so much better with Indiana, who I know we're going to touch on in a minute, and we got other teams. But yeah, I mean, if you're Giannis, you're thinking it's basically all on me yet again, not only this year but next year, and keep going.
Yeah.
Why not get out of there, right? You could be the guy who wants to play for one team his whole life, but right now Milwaukee's kind of on the down, and other teams are on the up.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy to see too. Like that team was just a shell of themselves. You felt bad for
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really feel too bad for him, but you feel bad for him. Just that caliber of a player just kind of waste his career in Milwaukee. But they had their runs, so we'll see. You want to jump in? Which games you want to start with first? I'll let you. Dealer's choice.
All right, so we had. We're talking about, I mean, for me, I had the games from this past weekend, so I just had the Saturday, Sunday games. And then obviously we got a couple games today. Boston at Knicks, game 4, 6:30. We got the Knicks up 2-1 in that series. After taking the first two on the road, which, crazy, right? And then you got T-Wolves at Golden State, game 4 as well at 9 p.m. Minnesota up 2-1. Not too surprising there with Steph being out. But really good last game within that series. So I was going to say start with some of the games from Saturday. So we got Boston beat the Knicks 115-93. This game wasn't really that close if you looked at it. I think I had it 71-46 at halftime. Couple of these games recently at halftime, you're like, holy shit, like these games are pretty much already over. Boston kind of coming back saying they needed to win a game, so you expected Boston to come out strong this past what was it, Saturday, I think?
Let's stick on that one real quick. Do you think I think the Celtics got it now. I know they play tonight. Whoever wins tonight will probably win the series, to be quite honest with you. But obviously it doesn't get any easier. The Knicks took two games in Boston. You think that they have the momentum, and it's just crazy to see, the momentum that the NBA playoffs bring. And that's just like, it's just funny how that happens. Honestly, it's just like where you think they had the momentum going into it, and then they lose one game and it's like series over, but we'll see tonight, I guess. But Tatum needs to step up and really prove that he's this superstar that we all think he is. I think he absolutely can be, but the problem is that he just seems to be like, he doesn't take days off, but it almost seems like he does, no?
We'll see, right? The Knicks took the first two games on the road. You still have this game, in New York, so you still have the chance to do what Indiana just did. We'll jump into them in a second, but yeah, Tatum, I mean, he had 22, 9 boards, 7 assists, a pretty solid all-around game. But, yeah, this kid needs to be dropping 30 or more in the playoffs. 22 seems a little light. I know you have other guys over there that can get their points, but Jaylen Brown. Peyton Pritchard was your high man on the team with 23.
And that's the problem, too, in my opinion. Like, if you have Peyton Pritchard being your number one, and it's against the Knicks, like – when I'm coming off of the top of my head, they have Josh Hart guarding. I don't know anyone else on that team that could really play like super great defense. So
it seems like when I watch Tatum, and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like he just settles for threes and jump shots more. And he's the type of guy that should try to get to the hole, get to the free throw line,
take the game over.
Get a few more points that way. He's a very good shooter. We know that when his shot's on, he's up there with some of the best of them in the sport. We know. I like how you said, is he a superstar? Yes, but I feel like Boston's identity the last couple of years is like, who do you go to? Is it Tatum or is it Brown? And I don't know if anyone's if everyone is super sold on who the guy is in Boston. I think the majority of the answer is Tatum, but Brown still has his games where he goes for 30 or 40. So it's kind of tough. I don't know. I'd say Tatum, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm saying Tatum. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that crazy. But yeah, you have to move Tatum in there, and he just needs to step up and kind of prove that he's this elite asset that we all want him to be. Like we're rooting for him. I mean,
On the flip side of this coin, Jalen Brunson, we got to give the man the flowers. He had the game high with 27. This kid, maybe he just blows me away just because he's from here, right? He grew up going to Stevenson. I mean, just a few minutes down the road from
yeah,
Palatine. But this kid is, I mean, nobody has dropped an expletive on the 60th podcast that we're doing. So I might have to be the first one to say this kid is fucking good, man.
he is, man.
I
I
would
love.
love the Bulls to have him. It's never going to happen, but he has
No,
blossomed into a star. Mark Cuban, I think, was the one to let Brunson go before he left Dallas. He let Steve Nash go back in the day, said he wasn't going to let Luka go. The Luka, obviously that
he was
wasn't
out.
Cuban's
Yeah,
decision. But he moved on from Brunson, who was starting to blossom in Dallas, and then he
yeah.
became the guy in New York. All I'm going to say is I'm a huge Brunson fan. I'm not necessarily a big Knicks fan,
No,
but I love watching him play. He's become a superstar in this league. Um,
you
could
want
he
to trigger
use an
some
extra
Knicks?
guy?
If you want to trigger some Knicks fans, tell them they haven't been relevant since MJ was in the league.
Hey, I don't have to say it. You said it. But
Yeah,
you know what?
trigger warning.
Sorry, Spike Lee.
I'm gonna
Drink
laugh.
another
I'm gonna
one.
laugh. I'm gonna laugh because I'll go to generate the clips for TikTok, and that's gonna come up, and I'm just gonna get so much hate from NBA TikTok. Man, they're brutal. These guys
Hey,
don't need ball. Stick to baseball. La, 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 la.
hey, you know what? The Knicks are still one of the top teams in the East. They're up 2 games to one. I think
Gotta win
I
tonight. That's the
I, I,
game.
would- I would say this is a big game for sure. You go up 3-1. It's very tough to win three in a row in any playoff series for any sport. So yeah, if the Knicks lose tonight, because obviously Boston has the last two of the last three at home.
Yep.
But right now, it doesn't. Home field advantage is crazy in the NBA sometimes. The same thing happened with the Indiana series, right?
Yep.
The Knicks,
Perfect
the road
transition.
team, Knicks take the first two. Same thing with the Pacers. Take the first two on the road.
Yeah. Moving in though, the Pacers have been just insane
They're a
recently.
good team.
They're a very good team.
Oh,
I think Tyrese, there was a lot of joke about when he got his gold medal about how he was like the kid in class that got an A and he didn't do anything on the Olympic team. Like he posted that to his like Instagram or whatever. I really enjoy him. I think he's a great player. It's kind of fun seeing him emerge as his top option for them. And the Pacers are kicking the shit out of the Cavs. I mean, they really are. And Donovan Mitchell is day to day or game time decision for game 5. So I would assume Pacers close it out 4-1.
did you see any of the game last night?
Clips, yes.
80-39 at
I
half.
think I
The
had it
game
on
was
it.
over.
I had it on at one point and I turned it off because of just the differential. So I turned on, I think it was Florida and Toronto for hockey. I turned that on because that was a closer.
Yeah, you might as well when you're getting spanked that bad. I mean, and this game was in Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah.
Indiana takes the first two on the road. Cleveland was the number one seed in the East. Everybody had Cleveland winning this series, I would assume. And Cleveland, to their credit, they came back in the second half. I mean, Indiana might have sat some of their guys. I don't know 100% of that, but Cleveland outscored Indiana by 21 in the second half. So they came back. It's good to see them, kind of fight. But, I mean, in this day and age, both of those numbers are high. 80 is super high to score in one half, even though we're seeing scoring up. You see teams score 60 to 70 and a half, but 39 is also low to score and a half. So you see that and you're like, this game's fucking over, dude. That's 2 F-bombs, by the way.
Yep. There you go. Chalk it up. All right, moving into the next one, Nuggets Thunder. They played, I think, last night as well. Nuggets made a little run at the end of it, but Thunder obviously kind of controlled that game. Kind of funny to watch SGA play because it seems like whenever he's not at the free throw line, it's just he's out of control at times, and I think it's just the moment's too big, like not too big for him, but like you can almost question, is the moment too big for him in the playoffs? Is this team still too young to overcome Jokic?
You know what? And that game's interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but that game was 17-8 after the first quarter. I think that tied the fewest points in a
Yeah.
playoff game in a quarter. So super weird first quarter. You couldn't buy a bucket. And what I've been noticing a lot, sometimes you have a good quarter or a bad quarter, and that can dictate a game. And that is the case from this game. You see, the first quarter was weird, but it was really the fourth quarter where Oklahoma City outscored Denver by 11, and you end up winning the game by 5. It was a close game the whole time.
Yep.
Denver, I think, was right in there the whole game, and this is a series it looks like is probably going 7 again. Denver just had a tough 7-game series with the Clippers. OKC breezed past Memphis, so you think OKC's the fresher team, but they're also the younger team. So it's interesting. This is good. This season, this series should go 7, I think. And I mean, do you go with the younger team that's a little fresher, or do you go with probably the best player in the league that's got more experience?
It's tough because I want to pick the new young guns, the team Young Buck, but you got to go with the Nuggets still. I think the Nuggets kind of like outlast them somehow. They might push it to 7. If it goes 7, I think the Thunder have a better chance. But I think if we could see Joker take over a game and kind of be a little bit more consistent and have one of those like typical Joker games, I think we're good.
That's why I think even if it goes 7, I think you could say you flip a coin, but man, that the experience and with the way Joker can just turn it on and go for 50 if he has to. That's why maybe I lean Denver, but I don't know.
Yep. And then going into the last series, obviously this one's kind of it's rough to watch without Steph being out there, but the Warriors and T-Wolves, I'm a big fan of Anthony Edwards too. I like seeing the young guy kind of take over. He put up 36 on Saturday. And then obviously Julius Randle has been just looking phenomenal. He's not doing his normal, triple-double. Didn't have his like normal goofy throwing up random ass shots. He kind of was like playing as a team, so kind of nice to see. Mike Conley, obviously have to root for him too, but yeah, I think when you have like Draymond just basically trying to foul out in the first like 2 minutes of the game, it's kind of rough out there. But I mean, Jimmy Butler's doing everything he can. Buddy Hield has been pretty decent for him, but without Steph, I mean, they're in rough shape. I'd have to imagine he plays.
I think you mentioned Jimmy Butler, but you didn't mention Jimmy Butler the third, right? You got to have that on there because apparently he's the third now after being in the league for a decade. He had a solid game. 33 points with 7 and 7. We got to mention Kuminga having a 30-point game too. I mean, he
kept them in there.
Kept them in there. I mean, they need somebody to go with Jimmy. Jimmy's got to step up now. Now he's got to be the number one. You're hoping to get Steph back. He hasn't been ruled out for the whole series, right?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I would assume he tries to suit up because they need him. If not, the series is over.
100%.
Jimmy can do as much as he can, but without Steph, that team's not winning.
Steph, though, man, I mean, after game 1, you're like, Golden State's going to win this series, right? I mean,
I know
Golden State, and then he gets hurt, and you're like, now you definitely just don't have enough. But like you said, Ant-Man too. He's fun to watch. He could go for 30, 40, 50 any given time. He's a killer. And,
it's kind of fun watching him play too because, like, obviously he got to be on the Olympic team and be like the young guy, like I said too earlier. But like, got to be around the KDs, the LeBron, Steph, all those guys, and talk shit to them all up and down the court. Like, it's kind of going to be fun to watch that like kind of transition from those guys kind of either retiring or just like kind of phasing themselves out of that role and him going up. So kind of cool to see.
I'm sure you've seen that intro or whatever that is where LeBron's saying, I haven't seen anybody in the league who can, where I can like sit down or whatever. And then after he says that, they do like I think Ant-Man's starting up his blue Lamborghini SUV or whatever. And I mean, Ant-Man's like, man, I ain't scared of anybody. It's all like, he's fun to watch, man. We'll see though. I mean, we'll see. It's been a good playoff so far.
Yeah, it has been absolutely. All right, let's jump into the Dan and John draft for fantasy football in our home league for Dynasty here. I'll put it on the screen so we have something to reference to.
Okay. The Dan and John draft, huh?
I mean, you two were the only ones picking in the first round except for me. So obviously we're leading it off. I want to get your instant reaction when you saw me making trades. Obviously, I got Genty.
Pissed.
Were you
Pissed.
pissed?
That was my instant reaction. Who the fuck is trading Josh Allen? I didn't look at the whole trade. I didn't see all that.
I
My
gave up a
goal
lot.
my goal coming into this draft was to try to trade up. I had 4 first round picks in this draft. I've got 3 next year, right? My
Yeah.
my my thinking was, all right, I hit up Jeremy, and shout out to Jeremy for taking 3 years to make a decision. Thanks, man.
Yeah. We'll
But
just tell them to fast forward to that part of the podcast.
Jesus Christ, dude. But anyways, he wanted a surefire thing. Okay, Jeremy, we all want a surefire thing. Okay, sometimes you got to play the long haul. Didn't want to do that. Okay, you know what? Whatever, dude. But in my thinking was, I've got 4 first fucking round picks. That's the third F bomb, and I've dropped them all, by the way. I've got 4 first round picks. I had two good second round picks. I had 6 picks in the top 14. Who, if they're thinking they don't want the number 1 pick, who wouldn't want to jump on that? And I've got 3 firsts next year.
Pretty sure I even told you what to offer him too, and you didn't.
It was 1 pick instead of the 4th. It was the 5th. Was that really to he wanted Josh Allen. His eyes lit up when you said, "Oh, you're going to trade me Josh Allen, Bills Mafia." I want that. Of course, I understand that. And this draft wasn't like last year's draft. Last year's draft, we had a ton of guys coming out, maybe a little bit more hype, especially with some of the receivers. Travis Hunter's looking like a two-way player. We'll see what you can get fantasy-wise from him. But my instant reaction was, fuck Jeffrey, right? Because he's got to go out and get Ashton. And the second one was, maybe it was just me. I assumed Cam Ward was going to go in the first 3 picks. I thought it was going to be any combination of Ward, Genty, and Hunter in the first 3. So, I mean, I didn't even assume I was going to be able to get Ward, and I wasn't that high on him, but I just figured, you know what, he's there at 4.
You know what? At where you got him, that was pretty much good value. No, I knew.
That's what I thought.
I knew he would drop just because of this QB class hasn't. It's not Caleb.
Right.
We're not talking like big name
But
players.
Ward was also like the number 1 for sure. He's the guy in the class. I know maybe he doesn't have that. Like the Caleb, like you said, or he doesn't have that maybe allure. But I still figured, I don't know, maybe that was just me.
Yeah. No, easy decision for me to go up. So obviously traded Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, and Cooper Kupp for Ashton Genty, Sam Laporta. Well, it was 1-1, but then ended up turning into Genty, Sam Laporta, and Najee Harris, and the third round pick. So 3-1. So we'll rattle it off. Obviously, Genty 1, Hampton 2 to John, Hunter to Cody, who's got like 1,000 freaking wide receivers. You took Cam Ward there. Like that for your team because you need that third wide receiver or third QB. And then you got your wide receiver there at Tat, who's looking, I mean, it's only rookie camp or whatever, so there's catching passes with no one on him. But, he's looking crisp. That was a good pick right there. John took Judkins. You picked up Henderson, like that pick too. John took Tyler Warren. You took Mbuka, and then John took Caleb Johnson. That was our first round. Any surprises for you outside of Ward? It was pretty generic for me. I've been in one other draft thus far, and that's been pretty much almost to the T.
I thought that was about the same. I think the one for me was where Warren was going to go. I wasn't sure. And the Hampton one maybe was a little interesting for me, too. I knew he was going to go high, but he went, was it 2? No, he didn't.
To be honest, I would have picked him 2 as well, just because he's going to get the
I was looking at him going, I was trying to get him 4 because, like I said, I assumed Cam was going to go in the top 3. I also knew Genty was going to be in there. And then I was like, Hunter's supposed to be really good. So in my eyes, I was thinking maybe I can get Hampton at 4. And then I was looking at a receiver anyways. But that to me, maybe just for me, Ward falling out of the top 3 and Hampton being 2. Maybe that was my biggest surprise. I don't know.
Yeah. And then entering round 2, Jeremy took Matthew Golden out of Green Bay. You took RJ Harvey. Love that pick. Jack Beck. Cody took another wide receiver over a tight end that he desperately needs. Dan, you got Loveland falling to you on a silver platter there at pick 14. Love that. Woody Marks. I know Dave has Mixon, but that was a surprise. And, obviously you never know if a guy's going to get picked early. Someone might snipe you, but I thought that one was a little early. When you have Burden on the floor, Jackson Dart, Scappo would have been a good option. So quite a few good players. But after that, then you got Pat taking Luther Burden, the big Bear fan. So that was like the most predictable pick ever. Evan took Jackson Dart. He needs a QB desperately. He does have Russ, so it works out. Can control that QB room for the most part. And I think Dart looks really good so far too. John took Scappo. Rich took Jalen Milroe. No faith in Sam Darnold, apparently. And then John took Jaden Higgins. So that rounds out our second. Outside of Marks, that was like the big one to me. And Jack Beck going over some other players too was a little sus. But near the end of that round was this is where it gets a little shaky and you can kind of throw a dart at a board and see what you can get value for.
Yeah, I liked the Dart and the Milroe picks too. I was trying to see if I could snag one of them. I also needed a lot of depth too, but the Dart pick, it seems to be like he seems to be like, all right, he could be decent. We'll see. The Milroe one is the big one, right? If he ends up being a little bit more accurate and if he figures some things out at the next level, he looks like he could be another, I want to say Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson type guy where he can run with the best of them. And then if he can throw it, yeah.
Absolutely a possibility. And Rich got a steal there if that's the case.
Yeah.
Moving into the third round, I had to lead us off with Shadir Sanders. He's going to get a chance to start at some point, whether it's the beginning of the season, end of the season. It's going to happen. Obviously, I should touch back to I did do a trade on right after I got rid of Josh Allen. I did trade Drake London for JJ McCarthy. So obviously needed to replace, Allen, and that's not easy with JJ McCarthy, but I do expect good things out of him. So obviously kind of broke down the God looking team and kind of made it a little bit younger, but we'll see. I made it a little bit easier for some of you guys to kind of try to catch me now.
Let's hope so.
Shadir Sanders, though, took him pretty easily 3-1. I felt like that was a steal. If you would have told me 6 months ago I'd get Sanders in the third, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah.
Evan took Trey Harris. I really like that pick out of Ole Miss. He put together a nice draft with that pick as well with Jackson Dart. Cody took Abdul Carter. Interesting. A little early in my opinion, but not bad. Dave took Mason Taylor. I took Kyle Williams out of New England. He's kind of the ex de facto wide receiver too in New England walking in there. Pat took a guy I've never even heard of with Kishon Johnson. Had no idea. That guy wasn't even on my board. Zach took Elijah Arroyo. He had no idea who that even was. That was kind of funny to find out. And then because it was a slow draft, Derek Carr retired and John happened to be on the clock. So he took Tyler Shaw. We'll see if he gets a chance to, win the job. Rich took Terrence Ferguson. And then I came back and took the Illinois alumni, Pat Bryant.
It was a good third round.
It was a fun one. And then, closing it out, round 4, Jeremy took Will Howard. Evan took Jalen Noel. Rich got Bayshol Tutton. That was a fun name to say. One of the fastest guys in the draft, had a huge combine, pretty high on him, good landing spot. Dan, you took Jaden Blue. Has a really good chance to, carve out time in Dallas. Dave took Dylan Sampson. Could be a nice 1-2 punch with Judkins. Pat took Harold Fannin. Good tight end pick. Zach went out of Dave's 2003 how to play fantasy football and took Moose Muhammad, but the third instead of Moose Muhammad. I don't know if they're related. I would assume they are, but John ended up closing it out with Jad Campbell for Philly. Rich took Kyle Montague, and then I closed it out with Devin Neal, who could get some good playing time if Kamara goes down and Kendra Miller can't stay on the damn field. So,
Yeah, even better 4th round.
yeah. Oh, I know. Taking him in the 4th round and getting him last pick, I'm like, whatever. I mean, and then waivers ran. I don't know if you saw the waiver ran this morning too.
You know what? I've been trying to figure out. I just set my other baseball lineups, and I'm trying to make a trade for. I was talking with this kid, trying to make a deal for either Skeens or Yamamoto. Might be a little too steep for the asking price. I'm trying to make a deal for Jesus Luzardo, and I'm trying to get Bubba Chandler thrown in on that deal. So, yeah, Ben, wherever you are, wake up. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. And then if you want to take a laugh at all the waiver guys I got, it was basically the Pat and Jeff show for the waiver wire, but I just took pretty much every dart throw that you could find. I pretty much went out and signed them. And obviously we have to cut 10 players by opening night or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I went ahead and just kind of, threw shit at a wall, see whatever sticks, whoever has a hot camp, and maybe I'll turn it into something. Couple trades still to be made. Got a couple out there pending. And if you need a tight end, I'm your guy.
Who do you have?
Laporta, Kittle, Kincaid, and Goddard.
Oh, jeez. You got a lot of them.
Yep. 4. Tight end premium, too, so.
I was going to say 1.5, yeah. Yeah, I like my tight ends. That's why I took Warren.
Yeah. Well, you took Loveland.
I took Warren in another league. That's why. Yeah, we got another draft still going on right now.
Nice. How's that one going?
I wanted to trade up, wasn't able to. I got Warren, I think, at 8. And who did I have at 16? Beck. I think I was able to get Jack Beck or whatever.
Nice. Is that the one you text me about?
Yeah, I think so. I'm still waiting to make my 3rd pick. That league, we have 8 hours a pick, and some of these kids are at work, and it just takes way too long.
Dude, I was gonna say that's
we're changing it.
That's the reason I went down to 4, because it just takes too long and it ruins. In my opinion, like, yes, I understand it's an 8-hour draft. You don't have to pick it in 2 seconds, and that's fine. And if you're negotiating deals, like whenever I'm on the clock, at least in the first couple of rounds, I'm like asking everybody, "Hey, do you want this pick? Whatever. I have an interest in this player." I'm working deals the entire draft, even if it's in the 3rd or 4th round. Some of these guys go in there and they either pick in the first 2 seconds. They get the little notification. I can make fun of you for doing that too.
Did I do that?
Not more just like didn't trade any picks, which is fine. It was more funny because after not getting Genty, it was like, I'm just gonna make my picks.
You know what? I wanted Genty bad, and I would have liked to move a pick or two, but it was more to get him, and I wasn't super sold. Like last year's draft, when I was able to get, I think this was in the other league I'm in, but I was able to get Neighbors, Bowers, and one more guy in the 1st round. So
that's like what Rich did too. Rich did the same thing: Bowers and Neighbors, and then in the 2nd round got Brian Thomas.
I also, with this team, no offense, but I needed to get rid of. I got to cut a bunch of these guys on this roster, and I felt you know what, I can add a couple guys that are at least decent enough in this draft, especially since I wasn't able to get my guy. So
yeah, no, and I was gonna give you props too. I liked your draft a lot. I think you hit and you did a lot of talent over landing spot. You didn't just, oh well, I need a quarterback, I'm gonna take a quarterback, Kenny Pickett-esque, you know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
Well done.
That's my worst position to try to draft. If you don't love the quarterback, I can't take him.
Oh, dude, this class is not good for quarterback. As much as I love Jackson Dart.
Right.
All right, man. We'll send it off there.
All righty.